All right, everybody, let's see what's going on. Let's look at the ancestors' energy today, get a message from them. But what you need to focus on right now, what's important. Let's see what wants to come through. If you're looking for the individual zodiac readings for May, I've put them all up on the channel. So we'll put a little link in the description box below about where you can find those. And also, what was I just going to say to you? Oh, yes. If you're looking for a private reading, you can check out my readers on soulfulrevolutiontv.com and get yourself a private reading. These are general readings. So sometimes the whole message may not be meant for you, maybe just a piece of it. So just keep that in mind, okay? All right, I love this. You will only see the way by making the way. It's really important that you recognize that you are the power. You are the one in charge of your own experience here on the planet. You're the quarterback of your mission and purpose, all of that. And sometimes we get to the place where we don't know what the next step is. And I feel like we're looking at that as a collective. Today in Pathfinders, I talked about Pluto going retrograde. That just happened on Sunday, on May 4th. May the 4th be with you. And Pluto in retrograde forces us to reassess how we're using power or how we're giving away our power. And that's going to be in retrograde until October. Okay. So I feel like by the time we get to October, things are going to look very different. That anything put in place, I've said this before, Mars retrograde is relatively rare because it only happens every 2 years. All the other planets retrograde every year, except for obviously the luminaries, the sun and the moon, and us, because retrograde isn't really a thing. It's relatively speaking, it slows down. Things are not as perfectly elliptical as you see in science class in 8th grade. Like there's a lot more to how the planets work than you think. And they're just mirrors reflecting back to us, really, on planet Earth. So if you are feeling at this, like, well, isn't somebody else going to do something? Or, well, I don't really know what the next step is. Things just seem kind of all cattywampus here, like all kind of upended. Your job is to make the path for yourself. So I talked a lot in Sedona about spirit guides and about channeling your spirit guides and working with spirit guides. And the thing is that they're here for you. You're the one who's saying, okay, I'm feeling called to make a move. I'm feeling called to go in this direction. And you don't look to your spirit guides to say, what direction should I go? Because they won't really answer that question. The question they'll answer is, what am I going to find if I go in this direction? Or how can I work with my path when I take this action? Like what's important for me to know? What's important for me, bring some information to the table, because spirit guides are about growth. So not, usually when we talk about growth, it doesn't always mean that it's like happy and secure and stable. Because a lot of times, how many times have you recognized in your own damn self that when I'm happy and secure and stable, I want to stay in that, and I don't grow that much. And it's fine, because we all need periods of rest. We all need periods of growth. And so sometimes a real explosive, expansive period of growth will follow being complacent, taking things for granted. Okay, I feel like that's where we are right now, is that we're going to look back on the early 2020s and even, since 2008, and may see a lot of things that we wish we could revisit. And maybe you're wanting to revisit some things because we do have Pluto retrograde. So revisiting, reconnecting, recalibrating, reconsidering. But reconsidering, but not if it gives your power away. That's the thing. We have a guest. Mr. Louie hanging out with us for a couple days. The phoenix rises into joyful abundance. Starseed. Some of you are going to become aware of your galactic connections. Enter, one step forward, one step onward. This is kind of pushing you. The guidance that you're getting may say, this is a growth phase. So this is what we're going to share with you. It's important that whoever this message is for, I feel like I'm talking to someone who may have been in kind of a complacent state, or someone, or you may not feel it's complacent. You may just feel like, well, this feels good. It feels stable. And then it's time to move from base camp again. It's time to start moving up that mountain. There's abundance coming online for you. There's new awareness coming online for you. And there's like, your spirit guides are saying, or ancestral energy is saying, there's a time to reclaim, to rest, to recalibrate, and there's a time to take action. And I feel like that's one of the things that we're learning, and maybe we hadn't known that up until now, that we think we always have to be on, or we think that when we're resting in that complacent or steady state, kind of don't get too high, don't get too low. When we're resting in that, sometimes that's been useful for us, meaning sometimes that manifests something really amazing for us, and sometimes it creates stagnation. So which is it? Okay, which is it for you? Are you creating stagnation, or are you holding on? Are you letting go of your power? Sometimes sometimes you need to surrender the struggle. If you are in a power struggle with somebody, sometimes the power move is to surrender the struggle, right? Drop the rope. Drop the rope. Like, this is not, it's not that you're not protecting yourself. It's not that you're not doing what's right for you. It's just like, I'm not going to play this game. I'm not going to play this game. So you have a different energy coming to the table. Think about that. If you're in a disagreement with someone, if you're in a power struggle with somebody, it's time to bring a different energy to the table so that you can grow and move forward instead of being in this power struggle. So if you've been very acquiescent, maybe it's time to fight a little. If you've been very domineering and controlling, maybe it's time to not give a shit. Which end of the spectrum have you been on? Be honest with yourself. That's the only way this works. That's it. Like, nobody else cares. You're going to have to, be real honest with yourself in order to move forward to this next chapter. So there it is. There's that reclaiming, Pluto retrograde saying, I'm going to take my power inward. I feel like there's a real movement inward, and a movement away from screens, a movement towards nature, a movement towards being in your natural, like, it's like, I've got to get myself grounded. I've got to remember who I am. And I've got to reclaim myself from all of this other stuff that's going on in the world. I've kind of given pieces and portions of myself out to these other dramas out here. Six of Pentacles. Are you the rich man, or are you the beggar right now? Are you the one who's helping other people, or are you needing some help? Seven of Swords. Oh boy. Seven of Swords, 10 of Wands, and the 8 of Pentacles. There's a lot of effort being put in, but I don't feel like it's going anywhere, because there's something about not being honest with yourself. That power struggle thing. Someone has given you breadcrumbs and expected you to be grateful. And I feel like you did play that game for a while, and now you're lying to yourself that you played that game. And it doesn't feel good to admit that we played that game. But when we're in those kinds of situations, survival kicks in. I feel like now it's like time to take another tack. Okay, take another tack. Page of Wands, the Wheel of Fortune, 10 of Swords. Wow. 10, 10, 10. 3 tens. 3 of Wands, 9 of Swords. Good. Ace of Pentacles. Oh, thank goodness. I like that. High Priestess, the 7 of Cups, 6 of Swords. So you're definitely moving on from this. But I feel like there's almost like a needing to welcome an ending. A needing, like, I feel like you're excited to move forward in life, but there's something needs to end first. Like, you can't just sidestep this. This is something that really needs your attention. And I know this is nerve-wracking, 9 of Swords here, but something in the next 9 or 10 days requires your attention. And I just get the feeling that, like, wow, if I had known all along that I really just needed to say, I'm done, then, and that was scary to say, then, and then you do, I feel like you're going to see your power. You've been lying to yourself, or someone else told you you don't have any power, and you kind of believe them because that's how it feels to deal with this person, that I don't really have any power. My power is just in keeping myself on the beam. Okay. But now things are changing. And I feel like this Pluto retrograde period, and, admittedly, we're talking about all summer through into October until Pluto goes direct again. It's still in Aquarius, but Aquarius is kind of like, it's different kind of change energy than Scorpio. Okay. We have a full moon in Scorpio coming up right now. So the things that drag us through the underworld that bring change are part of this scenario, because this is where we are with this full moon in Scorpio. And Pluto retrograde is also, in a way, dragging us through some kind of thicket of the mind that we really gaslit ourselves because we're so used to it. Or you think that, your nervous system is very used to being gaslit. So, for example, you can't, rest, or taking a break feels very naughty. Must be productive all the time. Okay. There's definitely something about that, about being productive or about doing something. And sometimes the answer is to do nothing. And, like, when do I know that that's the answer? How do I know that's the answer? I feel like you're now in a new place and you're going to have to learn new rules, your rules. You get to make the rules now. Yes, you get to make the rules now. Your high priestess energy coming through here, your intuition saying, okay, which direction do I go? Where do I go now? There's definitely the ending of a chapter here. 10 of Swords, like a finality. I'm not lying to myself anymore. I'm not putting myself through this. I have power. Okay, 10 of Swords. Courage. Gonna take courage. Strength. 4 of Wands. Moving. Knight of Wands. And the Page of Cups. Beautiful energy here. Once you have the power, once you recognize that you have power, like, this is a new path. This is a new way of living. This is a new way of being in the world. To have power of direction, power of choice, power of, if I want to rest today, I'm going to rest today. If I don't want to, talk to people, I'm not going to talk to people. If I don't want to, make sure everything's okay for you. That's called navigating people. When you have difficult people in your life, and sometimes you might not even recognize them as difficult. You might think of them as quirky. But there's certain kind of food that you can't bring to their house, or you can't have for dinner. There's certain kinds of foods. And you're even, like, stopping eating things you like because this person is so domineering. And so there's, like, all these rules. And if you don't follow them, you feel less than, not good enough, like you made a mistake, like I'm not going to be loved. I feel like that's what's being put to bed here. And it's even more, it's even deeper than this, because the Page of Cups and the Page of Wands, this is about admitting that this pattern didn't start with this person who's right in front of you right now. It started when you were a kid. And to go back there, I think the ancestors are saying you got to go back. You can't, it's almost like, okay, so I was out in the garden today. I brought Louie over. I don't know where Louie and Charlie are right now, but I brought Louie over here. He's a neighbor's dog they're traveling. And we're out running around in the backyard, and, the garden, things are starting to green up and come up. And I was, there was some weeds and stuff like that already. I'm like, hey, it's been raining for days. It's a great time to do the weeding. And I was pulling some of these dandelions, and like, it doesn't matter. If you don't get the root, it doesn't matter. And that's what I'm saying to you right now. If you don't get the root of this, it doesn't matter. It's going to keep happening. So let that be your incentive. That's where the ancestors are saying. The ancestors are also saying there is some kind of special path that you need to walk, and this was a lesson that was required of you for some reason. You had to deal with difficult people in order to take back your power. Maybe you're too compliant, or you're giving away your power. How do you handle that? How do you navigate that? So especially those of you who are kind of feeling icky about that statement about giving away your power, like, well, I have a lot of control. I am the one in charge of this and in charge of that and in charge of this. And those kinds of things, like making the house so neat, like continually cleaning even after it's clean, is a way of keeping control. Super duper organizing, like all of that's great. Everything that we do that helps our life is inherently a good thing. But when it takes away your peace, when you can't sit and just hang on a Saturday because, well, Saturday morning is when I clean. But if the place is already clean and you're up scrubbing a counter that's clean, those are things that are gonna are showing you that this is maybe more than you thought it was. Okay, so I feel like this reading is for somebody who didn't really know that there was a route to get. Maybe you didn't see the partner as somebody, or the partner or the boss or whoever it is, as somebody really problematic. You just thought of them as quirky, or that, they're broken. They're a broken toy, and you're just going to love them into wholeness. Nope. No amount of love is going to put somebody whole if they don't want to be whole. So don't waste the pretty, okay? Don't waste your love on that. And let's say it's part of your family. This is about recognizing awareness. Saturn is transiting right now at that 29th degree of Pisces. And that is a very karmic degree. There may even feel like a void before something new happens, but the void is purposeful, because the void allows you to be aware of these patterns before you move on, before you get, I don't want to drag this with me. There's something really great coming in. Ace of Pentacles. I don't want to drag this with me. Let's go deeper. All right. I'm going to look at what you don't see coming. Let's look at the next 30 days. I see abundance coming in. Ace of Pentacles. What's that all about? So we'll look at that. All right. If this is your reading, if I'm talking to you, there's a link below, and I will see you over there. All right. I hope you enjoyed that video. If it was helpful to you, please consider liking this video and sharing it with anybody who might have a need for similar kind of information. And if you like this video, check out these videos.